This episode of the LCTV News is brought to you by North Shore Community College. If you have the will to attend college, we have the way for you to earn your degree.
Hello and welcome back to LCTV News. I'm Dani Vittori and we have a busy week to cover. On the Lowdown, we focused on education, welcoming the president of North Shore Community College to the show. For news, money was distributed, health took center stage, and schools looked to the future. Here's the news for Friday, February 24th, 2023. Corey Daigle of Littleton submitted a proposal to open a gun shop and manufacturing facility last week, but withdrew it due to strong opposition from the community. He was planning to open the shop on Blossom Street, but sent an email to various city officials stating his intention to pull back the proposal. He was slated to present to the Zoning Board of Appeals on the 21st, but received pushback from city officials and community members due to the type of business proposed and the fact that he is currently facing federal firearm charges. The FBI is charging Daigle with possessing a machine gun and knowingly selling firearms to a straw buyer who gave them to an underage individual who was then involved in a shooting in November of last year with those same guns. City Councilor Fred Hogan, Mayor Gerald Nicholson, and Executive Director of EDIC Jim Cordell were some of the officials who objected to the proposal. Last Thursday, there was a Black business owners and vendor fair in the foyer of City Hall. Those from various businesses set up tables to display their products, from skincare to clothes to art. Take a look.
This is the Black Vendor Business Fair, so any vendor that identifies as Black, we're invited to come participate. Business owners in Lynn, local, that we want to support them. We want them to let them know that we care about their business, and we're just excited that they're here in the building. We have over 20 vendors upstairs right now, ranging from people who are selling products to people who are selling their services. We have people who are newer businesses to older businesses, so it's just really exciting to have this energy in City Hall. There's a lot of people walking around, and we should support Black businesses every day beyond Black History Month too. Just want to shout out TD Bank as well, Jason Gonzalez, who sponsored the event. He helped us sponsor Chef Michelle, who is a Black caterer, to also cater the event. We have such a rich history here of the Black community in Lynn. They have played such a role in shaping our community and shaping who we are as Lynners. And we want to remind them, and we also have to hold ourselves accountable to celebrate the Black community every day beyond the Black History Month. But this is especially a month where we can elevate them, let them know we see them, and applaud them, right? All the vendors that are here, there was no cost or charge for them to be here, and we're hoping people come out and buy their products, show them some love, and for them to expose all their talents. We need to understand who our community is and offer that support.
On February 18th, LCHC announced that they had administered their 100,000th dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Since the start of the pandemic, LCHC has been leading the charge, receiving their first shipment of vaccines back in December of 2020. By February of 2021, in collaboration with the City of Lynn and Public Health Department, they opened a mass vaccination site at the Lynn Tech Fieldhouse. At its peak, the site saw over 6,000 people per week. This is in addition to a mobile vaccination site, which included having tables at local events and educating people about the COVID-19 vaccine. Over 3,000 vaccines were given out through these services. LCHC also worked with officials to make sure the vaccines were distributed as equitably and efficiently as possible. Friday was a busy day, starting with an Afro-Caribbean fashion show and ethnic foods at the Lynn Senior Center. People took turns walking down the runway dressed in traditional Caribbean and African American attire as part of Black History Month. Here is more.
Today we hosted our first annual fashion show in representation of Black History Month. So today we had attire from the Caribbean and African American, and what I have on today, it's a headscarf. It is worn in the Caribbean, and it's also used to protect your hair. We've been planning it for about a month now. Tanya was the one that originated this idea, but she wasn't able to be here with us today. So we took over and we still made it happen. We have a lot of African American women here at the Senior Center, and we like to be inclusive of everybody here. So we thought that this would be a special event, something meaningful for them. And we just love representing other countries in the world. I would like to thank all of our models that were here with us today, Director Gomez for supporting us, and Tanya, the program manager, for being the originator of this idea.
That night, the Knights of Columbus hosted the Daddy-Daughter Dance. A large group of fathers and daughters gathered to participate in a photo booth and various dances. Here is more. Welcome to the Daddy-Daughter Dance, sponsored by the Department of Parks and Recreation.
Hi, my name is Joe Piazza. This is my daughter, Mia Piazza. This is our first time at the event. She's here with a bunch of her friends, and they're having a great time so far with the music and all the candy and running around. You want to say hi? No? And we've been in Lynn for almost 11 years now, and my family has been loving it. My wife grew up here in Lynn, and we've been having a great time.
Fathers and daughters were able to get their picture taken in a photo booth, snack on treats, and participate in fun dances.
Probably my fourth, since my Cameron Dunn was here for a couple years, and now this is my last year with Fiona Dunn. Oh, it's awesome. It's so funny. We walk in and she's like, I can't go in without you. I can't go in without you. And as soon as I come in, I will never see her the rest of the evening.
Both the fathers and daughters were taught a new dance, in addition to some classics, such as the Cotton Eye Joe. At the end of the 2022-2023 school year, Sacred Heart Elementary will be getting a new home, moving from its current location on Boston Street to Tremont Street. The school is moving because they fear they will not receive accreditation from the state in their current location. According to the St. Mary's Board of Trustees, they are planning to finalize the move on February 28th and assure those who attend the school that no seats will be lost when they do so. This got mixed responses from parents, with some believing the move is simply a means to avoid fighting the sale of the convent building. Also, there has been no decision as to where the pre-K program will be housed, causing more concerns from parents of children in that age range. On the other side, there are some residents who believe that attempting to block the sale is discriminatory against those recovering from addiction. Sacred Heart then announced that the property was sold to the Sober House for $1.3 million on Wednesday, the 22nd. Also on Friday was the graduation of the E-Class Machinist Training Program at Lynn Tech. They are the 25th class to graduate. Here's more from the event.
Thank you for coming. Welcome to Class 25 graduation, marks our 25th year. Thank you very much. The staff of the E-Team would like to thank you all for coming and sharing this moment with us. Tonight, Class 25 graduates begin a new life of craft and career progress.
We're here tonight because you all made the decision to commit to yourselves, to commit to your families, to commit to your community, and to improve your options in life, and to take it upon yourself to show that leadership for your own world. And I'm here tonight to say thank you for doing that.
Growing up in Lynn, it's been tremendous. I had, I would say, a handful of friends and family members who also completed this program, which has allowed them to flourish financially and become truly successful. Who doesn't want that for this house, right? That's why we're all here, because we want to be successful and be the best versions of ourselves.
I would like to thank God for putting me in the position that I'm in today. Also Tony, Tiffany, Pam, Mr. Leone, and Mr. Pickren, and all the other guys that showed up on Saturdays to contribute to my success here at the E-Team. I am forever in debt to all you guys.
Tony said one of our first classes, this program is going to change your life. He said, this is going to change your life. I was like, we'll find out, we'll see. And it really did. I think for everyone here, it changed all our lives.
I just wanted to say thanks to all the instructors and everyone who helped out with the program. We appreciate your dedication and commitment to helping us. You guys challenge us to become better and to be critical thinkers. And last of all, just thank you for accepting us into this program and giving us an opportunity to learn and to pursue a new career. We're at different points in our lives, but I'm sure we can all agree that thanks to this program, we're able to seek a better life.
Learning about machinery is like discovering the power to build, repair, and create. The relationships I have built and experiences I have shared with the E-Team only enhance my experience at the machine job training program. My experiences with them created forever memorable bonds. Along with this, our teacher and staff made sure we got the best experience and ensured our safety.
I love that we can turn a piece of scrap metal into something that serves a purpose in life, like a jet engine or a car, or something that serves a purpose. And I'm glad that I walked through these doors and met all these amazing people, classmates, teachers, and I wouldn't be in the position I am today if it wasn't for the E-Team.
I submit to you, the graduates of Class 25, that this reality is yours to seize and define. You must take your career in hand and push your horizons forward. We are confident in your success in the years to come. Thank you very much.
The City of Lynn has designated $16 million to make improvements to several parks and Lynn Woods. The money will be used to improve and update facilities that already exist at each of the locations. Lynn is currently seeking public opinion on the proposed designs. The money is coming from ARPA funding, and the city has started an ARPA-funded park improvement survey. The focus of the survey is to determine what residents think is most important when redesigning the parks. There will also be a Parks Commission meeting on the 1st at 5 p.m. where community members can ask questions and give feedback on the proposed designs and concepts. To see the flyer in both English and Spanish, go to lyntv.org. Sunday the 19th, local artist Jay Moon celebrated the release of his album with a party and performance in the Vault Theater at Lynn Arts, hosted by the Lynn Music Foundation. Take a look.
Yeah, so we're at the Vault Theater here in the Lynn Arts Building in downtown Lynn. So tonight we're here celebrating Jay Moon's album release. He himself is going to be playing his album and then give us a live performance for his songs Papa Tesla and Lights Out. We took over the Vault Theater space in January as the Lynn Music Foundation, and what we hope to do is do more live events and album releases, shows, theater productions, pretty much any community event that supports the arts, that supports the music culture also in Lynn. That's what we're looking to do. And so this is the first of what is hopefully many album release shows. We figured since Jay is very integrated in the music world here in Lynn, that he can kick off that portion of what we're trying to do here at the Vault Theater with his album release show and music video.
Yeah, tonight's my release party for my album, my self-titled album that dropped February 8th. It's called J Moon. I've had like projects before, but this is probably the first one that I've had time to actually like work and craft and really chisel out everything from production to the way the audio quality sounds, the lyrics, every single thing. Pretty much was just super chiseled this time. Before I was kind of running around working on multiple projects and working with multiple different artists trying to get them set up for success. So this time I got to put myself first, so that felt good. The past year I went through like a rough time. You know, I had a couple issues with mental health and stuff like that. So this album helped me break through all those obstacles that I thought were in my way. And really just talking about my problems throughout the whole album really helped do that.
In celebration of the Dominican Republic's independence 179 years ago, their flag was raised at City Hall. A large crowd gathered in the foyer to watch performances before the flag raising. Here's more.
On Tuesday, February 21st, Lynn's City Hall foyer was filled with joy and national pride as citizens celebrated the 179th anniversary of the Dominican Republic's independence by raising the Dominican Republic flag and enjoying some dancing, guest speakers, presentations, and food. The festivities take place every year to celebrate the country becoming a sovereign nation on February 27, 1844, as well as acknowledge and celebrate Dominican communities in Lynn and its surrounding areas. Notable attendees included Mayor Jared Nicholson, committee members including Lenin Pena, Ward City Councilors Coco Alisung and Fred Hogan, as well as State Representative Peter Capano, among others. Members of the Cultura Latina Dancing Academy entertained the crowd with impressive performances, and free flags were handed out to attendees in the spirit of national pride. Ultimately, with around 100 people in attendance, the event showed the enthusiasm of celebrating Lynn's Dominican communities. For LCTV News, I'm Josh Englander.
Now, the sports update. The Spartan Classic was last weekend, with the boy Rams basketball team bested by Lincoln Sudbury 70-53, despite playing hard for the entire game. While St. Mary's advanced to the championship after beating Springfield Central 80-62. The Spartans then lost to Malden Catholic in overtime, 71-64 in the championship game. Despite the score, it was a dramatic game, with St. Mary's coming back from 17 points down, and David Brown hitting a buzzer-beating three to send it into overtime. Ultimately, the Lancers came away with the win. The Lynn English Bulldogs are no longer undefeated, as Malden Catholic handed them their first loss, 57-50, on the 17th. The Bulldogs were down 47-36 going into the fourth, but fought back to make it a close game. A layup by Malden with a minute left sealed the deal, leaving them at 17-2 and English at 17-1. The Bulldogs then bounced back with a 66-61 victory over Springfield Central in a consolation game of the Spartan Classic, where Warren Keel secured a double-double, 16 points and 10 assists. On Wednesday, they participated in a city rivalry game against Lynn English. It was a competitive game with both teams displaying strong play. English came away with a 3-point, 71-68 victory against St. Mary's, with Bulldog Warren Keel once again the top scorer with 32 points. The Lynn English girls team lost to Acton Boxborough 60-29 in the Classic, dropping to 11-9 on the year. In a boys' consolation game of the Spartan Classic, the Swampscott Big Blue beat Lynn English 49-38. It was 36-30 Swampscott with 8 minutes left, but several key defensive plays allowed the Big Blue to retain the lead. In girls basketball, the Spartans were victorious over Lincoln Sudbury 58-36, with Nia Morgan scoring 23 points to advance them to the championship. They then beat Drakeit by a score of 73-72, scoring in the last 15 seconds of the game on the 20th. The Classical girls basketball team finished the regular season with a perfect 20-0 record after their latest victory in the season finale against Saugus, 48-42 on the road. They are 14-0 in the Greater Boston League, with the next closest team being Lynn English. Kip Academy boys basketball pulled off a narrow 58-55 win against Bishop Fenwick, coming back from a 55-39 deficit with 3 minutes left in the game. While the boys' St. Mary's hockey team won 2-1 against Fenwick, despite being down 1-0. The Spartans tied the game at 1 apiece before scoring the winning goal in overtime. The Spartans then beat Central Catholic 4-0 in the Pope Francis tournament, but lost in the championship round 1-0 to the host team, Pope Francis. The girls' team was also victorious 3-1 over Haverhill and 4-0 against Billerica, with Maggie Pierce scoring 2 goals, moving them to 19-1 on the year. Additionally, they advanced in the Higham Showcase on the 21st, shutting out Malden Catholic 4-0. The Lynn Jets hockey team won 3-0 over St. Joseph as goalie Stephen DeFilippo notched his 2,000th win with a 23-save shutout. The Boston Bruins have built a 5-game winning streak. They blanked the Nashville Predators 5-0 before pounding the New York Islanders 6-2 and beating the Ottawa Senators 3-1. Boston winger David Pastrnak scored his 40th and 41st goals of the season against the Senators on the 20th. David Krejci was also honored before the game, as he is only the 7th Bruin to play in 1,000 games. Last night, the 23rd, the Bruins had a dramatic 6-5 victory over the Seattle Kraken, with Krejci burying the winning goal in the third. The Celtics were on break for the majority of this week. The 2023 All-Star Game featured 2 Celtics, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Tatum scored 55 points and had 10 rebounds in 35 minutes of playing time, while Brown tacked on 35 points and 14 rebounds in 25 minutes of play. Team Giannis ultimately won the game over Team LeBron 184-175. In their first game back, the Celtics won 142-138 in overtime against the Indiana Pacers. This week on the Lowdown, we had the president of North Shore Community College on to discuss their 5-year plan as well as the transition to some online teaching. Here is the Lowdown. Good afternoon and welcome back to another edition of the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Dani Vittori, and today we have on the president of North Shore Community College, Mr. William Heineman. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Dani. It's great to be here.
Great. So I'll start off by asking, how long have you been the president there?
So just a little bit more than 18 months. I started in the summer of 2021.
So, like I said before, you're new-ish.
Newish is a good descriptor.
Knew it. And before we jump into the 5-year strategic plan, what do you do as the president? I mean, it sounds like just such a huge job.
It is a big job. Really, it's about setting the direction for the institution. Things like developing a strategic plan and then making sure we actually follow all the steps in the plan. So a lot of it is oversight. It's about hiring really good people that lead the institution, our academic people, our facilities people, our financial people. It's also about representing the college in the community, as we're doing here today, and with our state legislators and the mayor, and it's really being the college's leader and spokesperson.
Great. Well, I respect anyone who could do it, because that is not my forte at all.
Well, you never know, Dani.
You never know. So, I said, you mentioned you just released this very impressive 5-year strategic plan. So you have campuses in both Danvers and Lynn. Yep. So we're talking about here in Lynn. Do you want to start off by just saying a little bit about the 3 priorities that you sort of listed out in it?
Sure. So I think the first thing I'd point out is that the plan is all about the results that students get as a result of their education at North Shore. So if they came looking for a certificate or a degree that would lead to a job, what matters to us is, did they go get that job? And is that job something that is going to contribute to the community? If they came to North Shore because it's the first step toward a higher degree, a bachelor's degree, for instance, then the thing that's important to us is, do they eventually get that degree? And so the plan is really focused on, what does the student get out of their education? And then how does that contribute to the community? So there's sort of three priorities in the plan. The first one is to really focus on the student experience at the college. And so we want to be innovative academically. We know the world's changing around us. We know today's students aren't like I was when I was in college. And so we want to be innovative. We also recognize that students need support. Sometimes students struggle academically, but we have a lot of students who are doing fine academically, but there's other things going on in their lives that they need support with. Maybe it's childcare, maybe it's transportation, getting to and from school. So the plan focuses a lot on, how do we help sort of the whole student succeed? So that's number one. Number two is really about social justice. It's really about making sure that the good outcomes that can result from going to college are spread evenly across our student body. Like a lot of colleges in the country, that doesn't always happen at North Shore. Sometimes people of higher incomes are more likely to succeed. Sometimes white students are more likely to succeed than others, or females more likely than males. So the plan focuses on, how do we make sure everybody gets those good results that they came for. The third thing is about, what does it really mean to be a successful college as an institution in the 2020s? And colleges have a reputation sometimes for being stuck in the past, very traditional. Community colleges usually aren't so bad that way, but we want to make sure we're doing business in a way that makes sense in the world we're in now, with social media and so much remote work going on in the world. It's a different world, and we want to make sure we're doing that work well.
That all makes total sense to me. I mean, I never even imagined being able to do college virtually, and yet that's what I did. When I was a junior in college, everything just went remote, which was a huge shift from before, where it was like everything's in person.
And one of the interesting things that came out of that, and I don't think anybody would say COVID was a good thing, but we learned things as a result of that shift, and we found out for some students, the remote learning is really a good option, especially if, for instance, they have some of those transportation challenges. Then they're able to not worry about the transportation and go to school from home. And you know, that third priority where we talked about transforming the way we do business, I'm sure like your school, we moved all of the student services online. So if you needed an advisor, if you needed to talk to your financial aid counselor, it's all online. Now we're back again. We have lots of students on campus, but most students have not gone back to those offices for the in-person services. Most students are using the online services still. And so that may become sort of a permanent shift for us. So it's paying attention to what the students actually need and delivering it for them.
Focusing on what they need, the shifting culture. I know there's a joke with my generation that we have no attention span.
Well, it's a quick one, so we got to move with your span.
Like a 10-second one, that's it. That's all you get. And so when you were looking at, 5 years, it is a decent amount of time. How did you start developing that? Like, how do you go about developing that plan?
Well, we try to look out ahead and understand what the world might look like 5 years from now. We look at how the trends around us are changing, how jobs are changing, how people are living their lives, how that's changing. And then we say, what's the academic programs that our students now and 5 years from now will need? Sometimes it takes a while to develop a new program, so we need to be thinking 3 or 4 years beforehand and get started with that process. We've got some new programs we're going to be offering here on our Lynn campus in the next year or two. We started working on them several years ago, actually, and that's in the plan, offering more of our programs on the Lynn campus.
Okay, 'cause I was going to ask, when you're planning, you said you're in two different communities that they're different. Like Danvers and Lynn are very different. So how do you balance that?
Yeah, that's a great question because, of course, that's where the two campuses are, but there's actually more than 20 cities and towns that North Shore serves. So there's Salem and Gloucester, and you're right, none of those municipalities are exactly alike. And so we try to look at the whole big picture because the North Shore has specific employers and specific needs, and it doesn't matter which town you're in. We all need people that work in the hospital. We need firefighters and first responders and teachers. But then there's specific needs that really matter to individual towns. So part of that is, where do we locate our academic programs? Do we have them on both campuses? Do we have them on just one? And so that's part of it, but part of it is just always being flexible, always looking for ways. If a decision got made 10 years ago to put a program in one place, can we revisit it? Can we reconsider based on what's happening?
And for those who want to, I know it's very long. You said it's like 200 pages.
Yeah, it's pretty long.
So that's long. But if anyone wanted to see the plan, like was curious to read some of it, how would they go about finding it?
So it is on our website. You can actually go read the whole thing. It is really long. The first part of it is the key part of it. It's 30 or 40 pages. And you know, there's a lot of good sort of bolding in the plan, so you can pick out the really important stuff, like those three priorities I mentioned.
Yes. So I was going to ask what you meant by the whole student, but that makes sense, not just focusing on academic, but on their whole lives.
And that just comes from years and years of experience. When I started as a faculty member back in the 1990s, when a student was struggling, the assumption was there's some academic issue here, right? Maybe there's a communication skill issue we need to help this student with, and sometimes that's true. But what we started to figure out was, okay, we'll provide services to help with that. We'll provide tutoring, we'll provide advising, and it helped some students, but there was an awful lot of students who it didn't seem to make a difference for. And so we started to ask ourselves the question, is there something else going on here? Are there distractions in the student's life? And then how can we help? Because our mission is education. That's what we're funded to do. So we're not a healthcare organization. We're not a child care organization. We're not a bus, a bus company. So it's impossible for us to do all those things for students. So how we try to serve the student holistically is by partnering with organizations in the community that do that work. So we have lots of conversations with child care providers, for instance. How do we make this easy for our students so they can get what they need in terms of feeling good about where their kids are and they can concentrate on their studies? Or if it's food insecurity, if our students are hungry, partnering with the really great community-based organizations that do that work every day and figuring out, again, how do we make this easy for our students so they can concentrate on their schoolwork?
That makes total sense to me, and it seems like a great way to do that, partnering with so many other amazing organizations all around Lynn.
They've got the expertise, they know what they're doing, and boy, they're creative. They've got great ideas about how to address some of these things.
No, they really do. And before I wrap up, I tried to hit all the main points of the plan. Was there anything else that you wanted to say or mention about it?
Sure. I mean, one of our big focuses in Lynn is post-secondary attainment. Now, that's a real fancy word. All it means is training or education after high school. Okay. In a lot of people's heads, that means a college degree. But more and more, there's shorter training or educational opportunities, maybe just a month long, maybe 6 weeks long, that might get you an industry certification. Those right now can be almost as valuable as some of the degrees that take longer and cost more to get. So we're focusing a lot on those shorter term educational opportunities. And we're also working to offer more programs here in Lynn. So we actually have a new cannabis certificate that we're going to be offering in the fall. That just recognizes that that's one of the changes in the world, right? Legalization of marijuana. And so there's a big industry there. That industry needs workers. North Shore is one of the only colleges in New England, not just community colleges, but colleges at all, that have a horticulture program. Turns out growing marijuana is fairly complicated, especially if you're doing it at a big scale for business. And so we already have a lot of the expertise that's necessary. And we said, this is a need in our local community. The businesses are looking for people who know what they're doing when it comes to working with that product. So that's a new program we'll be offering this fall. Another one we're hoping to offer, I can't guarantee it, but we're working hard on it, is medical assisting. So that's a healthcare program, and it's sort of a first stepping stone toward more complex types of healthcare jobs. And it's really the first healthcare program we will have been able to offer on our Lynn campus, so we're really excited about that.
Oh, yeah, there's so many things to be excited about going into the future, and how many things you currently offer and are going to be offering.
Yeah, and the last thing I'd point out is the new high school that we opened in collaboration with Lynn Public Schools back in September. It's the Frederick Douglass Collegiate Academy. I was talking about that low attainment rate. We want more people in Lynn to take that next step beyond high school. Early college is a proven strategy from around the country that gets more people that wouldn't normally go to college to consider it, to actually attend, and it makes it far more likely that they'll complete some sort of credential. And it helps to erase some of those gaps I was talking about before between, for instance, Hispanic students and other students. So it's something we're really excited about. We have 75 freshmen, I think, on campus right now. And next year we'll have sophomores and freshmen, and we'll build eventually to have all 4 grades.
It is. That's incredible that you were able to. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and it's a great partnership. Lynn Public Schools has been great to work with.
Definitely. And I want to thank you again for just coming on and talk about it and share all this amazing news from the college.
Absolutely. I really appreciate the opportunity, Dani. Happy to chat anytime.
Great. Thank you. And thank you for watching. This has been the Lynn Lowdown, and we will see you next week with more guests. Now, the community calendar. The Haven Project presents Speak Up Open Mic on Friday, March 3rd from 6 to 9 p.m., taking place at the Land of a Thousand Hills Cafe, 61 Monroe Street. There's a $5 cover charge at the door, and all proceeds benefit the Haven Project. This event will be hosted by Jesse Ellie of Old School Young World, featuring several other special guests. Saturday the 4th is the Buy Black and Allies event from 2 to 6 p.m. at Lynn Arts. It will be co-sponsored by the North Shore Juneteenth Association, Lynn Music Foundation, and Shop SYN. Funds from the event will also go towards supporting the North Shore Juneteenth Association. Vendors who wish to sign up can scan the QR code on the flyer, which can be found on lyntv.org. From 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on the 8th, there will be a BioConnects Leadership Summit at the Lynn Museum. Officials from Lynn, as well as biotech companies, will meet to discuss options for biotech firms to move into the city. For more information on all these events listed and any others on our community calendar, go to our website, lyntv.org. That concludes the news for this week. Visit lyntv.org to watch our videos, read press releases, and stay up to date on our community calendar. Also, subscribe to our YouTube page, Lynn Community Television, to watch interviews, shows, and news. And follow us on social media at Lynn Community Television for updates on what is happening in the city. I'm Dani Vittori, this is LCTV News, and we will see you next week.